I am Miss McGillem. I teach second grade at North Wayne Elementary School. We are teaching the bean plant life cycle with Mr. Crosslin today.
Hey, thanks for that great introduction about the bean plant life cycle. But I'll tell you, you've been studying about butterfly life cycles, you've been studying about frog life cycles, and the human life cycle. I got a little quiz for you. What is this? Ready? Watch. What do you think it is? I'll do it one more time, then tell me your answer. You can shout it out. Ready? What is this?
Circle.
Oh.
Life cycle. Life cycle.
It is a
Life cycle.
starts, goes around. Okay, if that's a life cycle, what is this? That's a bicycle. Bicycle. It's got two wheels. Okay, then what's this? What's this?
Life cycle.
No, that's a unicycle. It has one wheel. No, I'm teasing. This is a life cycle, right? So I have a question for your teacher, Ms. McGillem. I'm going to make a symbol with my hand about my life cycle. Boys and girls, you can help her figure this out, okay? Now see if you can get it just by the symbols. Are you ready? This is my life cycle. Ready? Watch this. Ready? Now it's not over yet because I didn't die. I hate to tell you this, but if I get up here, does anybody ever eat peanut butter?
Yes.
If you eat peanut butter, you will die. Does anybody ever drink water?
Yes.
If you drink water, hate to say this, but one day you will die. Oh, wait a minute. Do you guys, everybody do this? Do you breathe air?
Yes.
If you breathe air and drink water and eat peanut butter, one day you will die.
No.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is all living things one day will die. I hope I'm about right here. I hope I still have this part left. Okay, you ready, Ms. Gill? Mm-hmm. Okay, here's my life cycle. You guys see me figure it out. It goes like this. Ready?
Flower.
What do you think? I'm a flower? You think I'm a flower?
Yeah.
Wow. Let me draw it for you. Check it out. So this is mine. Baby, toddler, infant, teenager, young adult, adult, Mrs. McGillem, what do you think those are? This is Rick. What do you think those are, Miss McGillem? Anybody? Anybody? Yes. This is a circle life cycle, so what do you think this little guy right here is? Yes? Other life cycles of mine, which this is my daughter Whitney, this is my son William, and this is my daughter Caroline. But what is this little thing right here, do you think?
Your baby. My baby.
Not my baby. They were my babies.
But now it's mine. Mom.
It's my, what, Miss McGill?
Your grandkid.
That's my grandbaby. This is Rowan. So my life cycle helped start another life cycle that's helped start another life cycle. That's pretty cool. But eventually, my life cycle will end, but my offspring's life cycle will go on, and my grandbaby will go on. And that's how the circle of life has been. So, we talked about the life cycle of a butterfly, and it starts with an egg. The egg turns into a
Caterpillar.
or a larva. The larva turns into a or a pupa, and the pupa finally, don't say a butterfly, it finally emerges as an, what kind of butterfly?
A monarch.
No,
Young butterfly.
an adult butterfly, right? Very good. Egg, larva, pupa. pupa, adult. What about a frog? Started with an egg, tadpole,
Young frog.
froglet, adult frog. And each time there was a change. So there's one other thing I want to talk about. I bet you know this. Here is something called all living things do this. They grow, which means to get big. And all living things do this. Develop, which means new parts. Hey, does anybody at your house have a place where your mom or dad marks on the wall how tall you are every birthday?
No.
You do? You do? That is an example of growing. You grow and grow. What does grow mean?
Getting larger.
Getting larger or bigger. Develop means new parts. Let me ask you this. When you had the larva, you know the larva from the butterfly, right? It turns into a pupa. When it comes out, the butterflies in your room, when they came out, do they have any new parts that the larva didn't have? What are some new parts that they did not have? Yes?
Wings.
They didn't have wings. So wings is a developing part. What else did they have? Yes? Ears, maybe? Yes, they didn't have that as a larva. Yes. Antennas, and what else? Where do they walk on? Legs, 6 legs. All those parts are developed. Oh, I got to tell you a story. You won't believe this, but it's true. How many people have a younger brother or sister at home? Okay, have you ever had to help feed them when they were a baby? I love feeding a baby. So you feed a baby, you take a spoon of rice, and you put it in their mouth, and they go, and half of it comes out. Then you have to scoot it back in, and half of it comes out. Yesterday, I was watching my grandbaby eat, and her mom put a spoon in her mouth, and she went, like she usually does, and all of a sudden we heard this, dink, dink, dink. She put another spoon in, and we heard, dink, 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 when she bit. What were we hearing? It wasn't growing, it was something, a new part had developed. What do you think it was? What? A tooth. She developed a tooth. Now, when you were born, young man, you're kind of a handsome guy, right? Come here. Come here. Handsome guy. What's your name? Jesse. Shut your mouth, Jesse. Jesse comes from the hospital. Oh, look at Jesse. What a handsome guy. Keep your mouth shut, Jesse. If Jesse was a baby and he smiled at his mom, look, smile at your dad. Smile. Let me see. Open your mouth. Ah! This baby has teeth. Babies don't have teeth when they're born, right? Usually? That would be a scary thing. You developed your teeth when you got older. And good thing you're not a caterpillar. You know, your mom brings you home from the hospital. Oh, look at my nice larva. You don't want to be a larva, do you? No. And we go to Jesse's house. If Jesse was a butterfly and knock on the door. Hey, can Jesse come out and play? And his mom would say, no, I'm sorry. Why? Come back in 2 weeks. Why? He's in the closet. We had to hang him up. What? Yeah, he turned into a cocoon. He's a pupa. Come back later. See you later, Jesse. Good thing humans are not larvae and caterpillars. Sorry with your hair there. And these teeth were developed. Now, Jesse grows, right? That's growing, and he's developing. Go and have a seat, Jesse. Good job. There's something on me that's kind of weird. When my mom brought me home from the hospital, and everybody, oh, what a cute baby. It's a good thing that this wasn't right there. Can you imagine if she brought home a baby like me and he had a mustache? Oh, look at my nice baby. Sorry, that baby's got a mustache. That would be too weird. This mustache I developed when I was older. It was an example of developing, just like teeth and just like the wings on the caterpillar. So living things do two things. They, what do they do? They grow and they develop. Let's take a closer look at this.
So, Mr. Crosslin, you mean grow and develop like this? Let's show them. Grow, develop.
That's exactly what I mean. Good job. In your book on page 212 is the bean plant life cycle. We're getting ready to plant some bean seeds and do an experiment. It's called the garden glove. Now, if you look, the first cycle, go ahead, there is a picture of a seed. Go ahead and write number 1 by that in your book. So the first step is a seed, right? Next, draw an arrow to it, and there's a big blank right here. You see that blank? We'll come back to that in just a second. We're going to call that number 2. Stage 2 in a life cycle. And then, can anybody tell me what the third one is? It's a seedling. So number 3 looks like this. I'll draw it real quick. There's a seed, up comes a leaf, another leaf, a little sprout, and down is the roots. And we call this a seedling, right?
Yeah.
You agree or disagree?
Agree.
Agree. A seedling. And we'll call that number 3. So, is that the end of the life cycle?
No.
Seed. Number 2, which we don't know yet. Number 3. What's the last one?
Number 4.
Number 4, which is an adult plant that has really big roots, right?
Yeah.
It has a stem, the first 2 leaves, and then it's got these special leaves. Check them out. The special leaves that start to grow, that's different. Those are new. So is that growth or development? Since it's new, what would you call it? I would call it development, because these leaves are different than those. And then finally, we have, what do we have right here?
Flower.
Flower, or maybe even a flower bud. And then we go back to seeds. So let me ask you this. This is an adult, right? A-D-U-L-T. Are this flower and bud, is that growth or development? What would you say? Development, because it's new. So we have the seed. We don't know about this yet. Number 3 and number 4. I'll tell you, before we name this and draw this, let's go ahead and write what it's called. I like to call number 2, write it in that blank space, germinate. Everybody say that word. Germinate. Germinate, which means to crack open. Go ahead and write germinate and crack open. What does germinate mean?
To crack open.
To crack open. What's going to crack open, do you think?
The seeds.
You guys are way smart. Let me see what you wrote here. Germinate means to what? Crack open. Okay, so I have here a whole forest of seeds, and it's wintertime, and all my seeds are deep in the ground where it's cold. They've been waiting and waiting. They fell from flowers last year, and they're waiting in the ground. Quiet, nice little seeds. It's December. It's cold. It's January. It's freezing. Snow in February. And finally, the sun starts to warm them up, and they start to move up towards the sun. Here comes the sun. And they turn to the sun and they say, and then, pretty soon, the sun warms them up, and then the rains come in the springtime, and they start to swell up, and they say to the rain, ah! And pretty soon, more sun, more water, and their bodies of the seed fills up with moisture, and all of a sudden they go, and they germinate, and they turn to the sun and the rain, and they say, thanks. I needed that. And they start to grow a little bit more, and their roots start to grow down, and they're on their way to becoming a seedling. Stage 1 and stage 2. Okay, so that was awesome. You guys are great bean actors, I'm saying. So we went from a bean seed to a germinate. Germinate, look, the bean has 3 parts to it. It has a seed coat. I'm going to make this like a seed coat, and that cracks open. Seed coat. And then inside of it, the bean, there is a tiny plant that's inside of there. And there's food. So there's 3 things already inside of a seed. The 3 things are a seed coat. Here's the seed coat. That's what cracks open. There's a tiny plant inside the seed, ready to grow, right there. And the rest of it is, guess what? food for the seedling. So here we have in germinate, there's a seed coat, there's food, and a tiny plant. If there's already a tiny plant in there, will it just grow or develop? It will what?
Develop.
No, it's already there. It will grow. It'll grow. It develops when it gets new parts. In fact, the developing is not this leaf. That's that leaf. Here is the developing. The developing is when it becomes an adult and we have new leaves, flowers, and flowered bud. All right, let's do the project. All right, so let's take a closer look at this project. We're going to do the garden glove, beans, garden glove, in order to see the plant life cycle, the bean life cycle. So you have two types of beans. You have two pinto beans, which I love to eat, two pinto beans, and two lima beans. And so those are going to go in your glove. And we need something for soil. So what we're going to use for soil is something from a plant. A cotton ball came from the flower of a plant, a cotton plant. This was inside the flower after it burst open. The seeds were inside here. Now, cotton is so cool because we use cotton all the time. If I can pull out a small strand of this cotton, the fibers, and if I spin them, I can turn that into string, cotton string. And if I weave that, I can turn that into cloth. In fact, blue jeans, t-shirts, we wear cotton all the time. So you walk around wearing cotton. Yes.
If our clothes made of cotton, how does it change the colors?
The colors, we add dyes. In the old days, the kind of dyes they use, they would take cloth or different, believe it or not, they would take green vegetables and make a green dye. Or beets that grow in the ground are purple. And you won't believe this, but there was a type out in Arizona, a type of larva, a caterpillar, that coquina, which makes a bright red purple. And a long time ago, people used to collect those larvae, dry them, kill them, squeeze them, and make this color right here on your shirt. And they would dye the cotton. Gross? I think it's cool.
That's not cool. That's killing nature.
Well, that's using nature. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be one of those larvae. Now, see this plant. So what we're going to do is take it, and if we pull it apart, one becomes two, one becomes two, and two becomes four. And so these will end up put inside our garden glove. Go ahead and do that while I show you the next thing here. Put those four in there. So, boys and girls, you have your name on this. Like, here's my name right here. Rick. Today's date. Okay. Now, we're going to use two types of seeds. What's the first? A and B are? Pinto. Look, it says pinto and pinto. What's C and D? Lima. And we said here's a seed that's already broken open. And look, there is the seed coat. I can pull off the seed coat right there. The seed coat. And inside here somewhere is the tiny plant.
Where's the plant?
It's in there somewhere. So what we're going to do is A is a pinto, B is a pinto, C is a what? Lima. And D is a lima. So who thinks that the pinto bean is going to grow taller than the lima? Who thinks the lima bean is going to go taller than the pinto bean? All right. The only way we can do this is plant them, measure them every couple days to see which is right. But I thought we'd change this even one step further. I brought this stuff right here. Ah, thanks. A, B, C, D. Do me a favor. Put pintos in A and B and limas in C and D, just like you're drawing. While they're doing that, I got to show you guys something. Check this out. Look here. This is something I bet you know. I call this plant food. What's another name for it? Instead of fertilizer, right? What's another name besides fertilizer that you guys talked about? It's in the soil. It gives the plants food. Not the roots, but what? Starts with an N.
Leaves.
In. Newt.
Nutrients.
Nutrients. So these are our nutrients. Check them out. You can call that food, you can call it fertilizer, or you can call it nutrients. This is going to go in the soil. But if you look on your sheet here, may I have this? We're not going to put it in all of them. In A, it's just going to be a pinto bean, right? In C, just a lima bean. But look at B. B says pinto bean plus fertilizer. Ah. And look at D. Lima bean plus
Fertilizer.
And if you look on your drawing, I made 5 little dots. We're going to put 5 pieces of fertilizer in B and 5 in D. So where does the fertilizer go? B, D, like Ben Davis. That'll help you remember that. B, D, okay? Fertilizer goes in B and D. Now I got to ask you a question. Do you think the plants will grow taller with fertilizer or smaller without fertilizer? Do you think they'll grow the same, taller, or smaller? What do you think? Who thinks that fertilizer will do nothing? Who thinks that fertilizer will make the plant smaller? Oh, what do you guys think?
I think it will actually make it taller.
Who thinks the fertilizer will make the plant taller? But what if too much fertilizer will kill it? I don't know. How are we going to figure this out?
We make a new one.
You have to do it.
We have to do it. We have to test it and measure it. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you an easy way to put the fertilizer in. We'll give you some of these nutrients. And now, this is probably the hardest part of this, but in just a moment, we'll back at your desk. We're going to put your hand down here, sweetheart. Okay. We're going to give you a pile of these. Just count out 10, and then you give your neighbor the rest. You only need 10. 5 in which finger?
B.
And 5 in
D.
So I'll show you how you do this. I'm going to get my 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And watch what I do. I'm going to put them in here like this. Watch. I'm going to put them in keep it flat on your desk, and I'm going to push them. Give me 5 ready. Where am I going to push them into? Tell me.
A and D.
No, why A? I thought, what'd your paper say? B and C.
B and D.
Read that again. Where?
B and D.
B and D, like Ben Davis. So I got them in B. Would it be a fair test if I put some in A?
No.
No. You got your 5? Hand them here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. So I'm going to I've already got them in B, so where do they go next?
D.
D, so see how I'm pushing them down like this, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yes?
Yes, yes.
See, and my poor little seeds, they're just seeds. What have they not done yet?
You have to wait.
They have to add, no, they're just later. What are the 2 things they need? Ooh and ah. They need
Water.
Okay, so they're going to get sunlight. We're going to tape this in the window. There's the sun, but what else do they need?
Water.
Water. Okay, here's our pipette, a science tool. So look, there's 2 ways to do this. I can put it in the water and squeeze the air out like this. And when I let go, water comes up. Or I do it like this. In the air, I can squeeze the air out, hold it down, put it in the water, let go, and water comes up. So what we're going to do is put 2 full squirts. There's 1, 2. Wait a minute, I heard something. What did it say?
Crack.
Ooh, ah, and crack. It just germinated. It's starting to germinate. Let's try it again. Put in 2 squirts in B. There's 1, 2. I just heard. Ooh, what did I hear? Ooh, and
Crack.
yeah, it's going to germinate. Let's try this one right here. Ready? 2 squirts. I just heard.
Ooh. Crack.
Germinate. And the last one, poor little baby finger. Don't forget me. And
Ooh. Crack.
and these are ready to go, and we'll have to observe them. And if they start to dry out, we should probably put some more water in because they'll go, ooh, thanks, I needed that. And we'll keep them by, and we'll see them crack open and start to grow. Hey, why don't you guys go to your seats, and let's get busy.
The rest back. Christopher, did you get 5?
I don't have enough. Just
5 and B.
and B. I'm finished.
Me too.
So one thing I forgot to show, this is a really great thing you've done on a plant, right? What are these here down here in the ground? Roots, and what's this big thing coming up?
Straw.
Well, that's a straw, but it's supposed to stand for the stem, right? And what are these things right here?
Leaves.
Leaves, and up here at the top, the, smells nice. It's the, and you have it in your hair too. What is it?
Flowers.
Flower. And if you notice, what's in this flower right here? Seeds. In fact, these seeds right here came from the flower, and that's pretty amazing. And when you grow your bean plants, eventually you're going to get flowers, and that's where the seeds come from.
So, Mr. Crosslin, we have been talking a lot about the bean life cycle. See if you can guess mine.
Okay, looks like you were a baby, an infant, a toddler, a teenager, you got married, and you have a little offspring, am I right?
You're right. We are so excited about our garden glove science experiment.